Welcome everybody to the Music City Surrey Showcase, where we highlight the amazing artists that live, work, and play in Surrey. And today we have the amazing musician, Colin Sankey. Thanks, Colin, for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. So you and I met each other 5 or 6 years ago when our mutual friend, Zach Saunders, who's also an incredible musician, left to Toronto, and he was playing in the band, our band, The Apartment, and he said, I've got this friend of mine, this beast musician, Colin Sankey. So without even hearing you, I took his word for it, and you came, and my friend, you are a beast musician.
I appreciate it. I do my best.
I want you actually to give the audience a little taste of anything you want.
A taste. Oh boy, I'm on the spot.
Yeah.
Okay, what do I have? That's the question.
My man. Colin Sankey.
Appreciate it.
So I started music when I was 6 years old. When did you start playing music? And take me through the progression from you're a child
Yeah.
who doesn't do that to now you can do that and you are a virtuoso bass player. So how did it all start?
Well, it started, I think, when I was about, I want to say like grade 5-ish or maybe grade 6. I know my brother was really into like drumming. And so I was hearing like drums for like 3 hours a day. He was really into bands like Nine Inch Nails and like Pink Floyd and stuff. Okay. And so I was inspired to take up the keyboard, right?
Okay.
I wanted to pick up an instrument, and I thought, oh, maybe the keyboard, right?
Okay.
And then after a year or two, I like just got bored of reading music, and I was like, nah, man, this isn't my thing. So I kind of fell off it. But then like a year or two later, I started listening to a lot of Pink Floyd.
Okay.
And like Led Zeppelin, lots of classic rock, AC/DC, and I was like, man, this is my jam, this is my stuff, right? And so my brother got Rock Band for Christmas,
Right.
so we started playing that all the time,
Okay.
right? And I was like, man, this is really fun, but I want to do this for real now, right?
Fair enough.
So anyhow, and then my buddy Jordan at the time was playing guitar. So I was like, oh, my brother plays drums, my buddy plays guitar, what should I do? And I picked up the bass, right?
Amazing.
So I kind of sucked at it for like about a year. I was just like not
Just a year.
yeah. Yeah, and then all of a sudden I was a pro, but no. But no. After about a year or so, I think I was in bass lesson one day, and it was a group lesson. And we were learning the song Santeria by Sublime.
Yes.
And I was really, really digging the song. So I took it home and like I started practicing it like every day. And I was just like, I want to nail this. So when I came back into the lesson, it was the usual. Did you guys practice the song? The other guys were like, oh, nah, we just didn't have time, school, whatever, soccer. Right. I was like, I got it. and so they like put on the song in the background, right? And I was like, I'm going to play along to this, right? And I just like nailed the whole song note for note.
Do you still remember it?
Do I still remember it? I think so. I hope so.
Can you give me a little taste of,
Okay.
what is this, 12-year-old Colin?
This is like 14-year-old Colin.
14-year-old Colin, okay.
I think, or maybe 13. I don't know.
Okay. So there is a little bit of complication. There are some ghost notes and like some percussive stuff in there. Were you paying attention to that sort of thing back then, or were you like, okay, these are the root notes, I'm just gonna play the basics? Or
I just played along to like the tab or whatever,
Okay.
and I just played whatever the tab was note for note. I think now that I've just kind of haven't played the song in a while, so I'm just kind of like riffing based on. I'm just kind of like improvising based on like the structure. So
Okay.
I don't have. I just like just played the tab note for note. So.
Okay, so that's interesting. So 14-year-old Colin, who wanted to play bass and play with his brother and his friend.
Yeah.
You were like, so you didn't go out and get a bass teacher. You're like, I'm going to teach myself. So you went online and found tabs, and you thought that was the best way to learn. And you're like, okay, I'm just gonna.
Right. Well, I did have a teacher who was mostly teaching like group lessons.
Okay.
Right. But I did once after a while we did start like looking up a lot of tabs on my own time and kind of learning stuff note for note. But in that particular lesson, they were like. The instructors were amazed. They're like, "That's what I want a student to do. Like, come back and learn the song note for note." The one guy's like, "You trying to start a reggae band, dude, or something?" Yeah,
That's cool. So your teacher obviously saw that there was something special, that at least you put in the work to study because you really loved it and you really wanted to do it.
Totally.
Did Rock Band, like the songs from Rock Band, were those inspiring? You're like, I want to play those songs on Rock Band?
Yeah, there was one in particular that was really fun. I didn't actually learn to play many of the songs from Rock Band. There was one that was really fun. I can't remember. Was it Green Grass and High Tides Forever or something?
Okay, I don't know that one.
It was like kind of like it's funny because I don't usually like country music, but it was kind of like a country like rock type of thing.
Okay.
And I thought it was like a really kind of epic sounding song, but
Do you remember it?
No.
Because I have no idea what you're talking about. The song.
I have no idea. It was just from Rock Band.
We should look it up afterwards.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
awesome. So
Totally.
that country song kind of inspired you, and you're like, I need to learn this, and you did.
I'm not really a big fan of country music, but that song was pretty sick.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, there are a bunch of really sick country songs.
There's some
For all the country fans out there.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. So, all right. So you're 14 years old. You're 15 years old. You've picked up the bass. Was it a 4-string bass, or did you you're like, no, I'm gonna go for a 6, or what do you got? Yeah, you have a 6-string bass. How did you start? What was the first bass you had?
I had a 4-string like Yamaha or something, like a beginner kind of bass to get into, but over the years I progressed. Eventually I got into this Go Down Freeway, which is like a 5-string.
Okay.
When I got into music school, I was really into Marcus Miller, if you've ever heard of him, like super funky slap bass, Right, that type of
Nice.
thing, right?
Right.
So he's like kind of like the super funky kind of slap bass guy, and he doesn't just do slap bass, but he's like a really kind of like jazz, funk, fusion kind of guy. And I was getting really into him in music school, and he was playing like a Fender J bass, right?
Okay.
American Standard. So I picked up one of those, just a typical 4-string, right? And that was kind of my thing for a while. But then I started getting into this bass player, this French-Canadian bass player named Alain Caron.
Okay.
And he does all this crazy like slapping on the 6-string, like playing chords and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Right, so he was one of my first inspirations for like the 6-string, and I was learning to play one of his songs for my 4th-year recital right at the end of my 4-year degree. So I was like, well, I have to pick up a 6-string bass because I'm not going to be able to play the whole thing otherwise. So, and so Alain Caron was a big inspiration for me as well. And so him and like guys like Victor Wooten, obviously,
Of course.
kind of define a lot of like, my influences and how I play now. But
I have a question though.
Yeah.
So we kind of glossed over this. So you went to university to study bass.
yeah.
Okay, so how did that whole world start? Like at one point were you like, I love this instrument so much, I'm going to dedicate, all these thousands of dollars or whatever and go and study to become a master at this particular instrument. What was your thought process, and what were you dreaming about? Because to go into music school is driven by passion.
Right. So when I was like getting into music school,
How did you make the decision to go to music school?
Well, I was thinking of I was actually honestly thinking about a lot of different career paths at the time when I was in grade 12. I was thinking, oh, maybe I want to be an engineer. Maybe I want to be like a physicist or something. Maybe I want to be a writer.
Because clearly you have the math skills
Yeah.
to be able to,
That's
you know, put your mind around it, you know.
Right, totally. I was pretty good at math and everything, but I think what happened was, I was planning to take the year off, but actually, and just think about what I wanted to do. But my parents had different plans. They signed me up to like audition for like different music schools without,
Oh.
and so I just was like, okay, I guess I'll audition, right?
Well, hold on a second. So your parents saw something in you.
Yeah.
They were like, this kid, our kid, is a maestro at this instrument. It would be a waste if we didn't at least go and develop his skills. Because that's quite uncommon, actually, for parents to be like, no, we're gonna invest in our kids' musical ability.
Yeah, it's true.
Which
It's
I think
true.
is an amazing thing because
Yeah, it is.
You know, the music industry and the entertainment industry, arts industry is a massive industry.
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
with incredible amount of opportunity. So that's amazing. So props to your parents for doing that.
Yeah. They were, I guess, like, for me, I was just like, kind of like, finishing up grade 12 and not sure where I really wanted to go. And like, I wasn't really intent on like, doing anything until I was sure about it. But
Right.
I guess my parents, I was fortunate to have parents that were like, they did see something in me and they wanted me to pursue my passion, right? So they signed me up for music school audition. I got into VCC. Yeah, and then when I got there, I was just like, I kind of got absorbed in all the music, and I was like, well, I do want to do this. I mean, I had always wanted to be a musician. I just didn't know how realistic it was, right? But my parents were very like, supportive of me being successful
Right.
in music, right? Which a lot of people, their parents, like, oh, it's nice to have a dream kid, but like, why don't you become an accountant or something, right?
Absolutely.
Right. But I think with all this support, I was able to achieve the success that I have, right? From friends and family and my parents kind of like supporting me along the way. And a lot of that drive has led to obviously me being able to be a professional now, which I'm
Right.
super, super grateful for. But
Awesome.
no, it
That's
was
fantastic.
Yeah,
Because you are obviously an incredible musician.
I appreciate it.
And very much in high demand, and you do this full time.
Yeah.
So your music industry career obviously includes some teaching, as I know.
Yeah.
You're performing all of the time,
Yeah.
and you are releasing an album.
Yeah.
Is this your first album that's coming out?
This is my first album. It's something that I've been working on for the past 2 or 3 years. I remember in the beginning of 2020, around when COVID started, I started constructing plans to like put out a solo album, right? For real. Yeah, I just started composing like a bunch and arranging a lot of music. My main inspiration was obviously Victor Wooten, who is like kind of like the pioneer of like the solo polyphonic bass thing with the two-handed tapping and everything.
Right.
So I started getting in, just arranging a lot of Wooten-esque kind of things.
Right.
I wanted to compose a lot more like also like jazz fusion with like 4 or 5 piece band with like keyboard players
Right.
and drummers, but I didn't.
That's not what this is?
There is 2 songs like that in there.
Okay.
But the thing is, I got a grant from Factor to help.
I see that. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I got an artist development grant from Factor to help with funding the
Record and produce and the artwork and everything.
Exactly. But the amount of money I actually had on hand was not enough to like pay all the musicians and for the studio time.
Right.
To get like a full like 10, 12 songs with like a whole bunch of guys. And plus I did want to do a lot of solo bass, but I wanted to kind of be half and half, but it is more solo bass and a couple of like band oriented songs.
Cool. So I see over here you've got 7 tracks and 5 of them are originals.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And 2 of them are covers. One is by Stevie Wonder, Isn't She Lovely? And another one is by Charlie Parker.
Yeah.
So Could you give us like a taste of "Isn't She Lovely," and then
Sure.
after the interview, we'll have you do one of your original songs, if that's cool.
Sounds good.
Yeah, just give me a taste of your version of "Isn't She Lovely" by
Sure.
Stevie Wonder.
Sure thing.
You're incredible, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That
Yeah.
is so amazing. Honestly, you know this instrument so well.
I do my best.
It's amazing, and the effort that you've obviously put into understanding it, absorbing it, internalizing it, studying it, knowing exactly which fret
Yeah.
is which fret, has led you to the point where you know where to go. But then clearly you are a creative monster, where you are channeling some incredible energy from somewhere to be able to come up with such beautiful arrangements, man. I'm
Appreciate
so
it.
I've always been, and I continue to be, and I always will be, floored by how amazing a musician you are.
I appreciate it. I do my best.
Yes, you clearly do. So, where can people find you online?
They can find me online at Colin Sankey Bass, which is just my name, COLIN SANKEY, and then bass attached. But if you look up Colin Sankey anywhere, I'll probably be the first guy that comes up.
Right.
You can find me on all the social platforms: YouTube, TikTok, what else?
Instagram, right.
And Facebook. Not Twitter, because I hate Twitter, but those four. And then obviously my website, Colin Sankey Bass. Just look it up on Google and it'll come up somewhere. So yeah,
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much, Colin, for taking the
Totally.
time to come out and show us how amazing you are as a musician, and
Totally.
the fact that there are incredible musicians that live and work and play in Surrey. So, everyone, we're going to let Colin play one of the original songs off of his upcoming album, and hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have. We'll see you soon. Bye.